Okay, we finally reached the Obi Wan Kenobi series finale, or possibly just season finale, because there's talk of a season 2 already. And it was a dud. I've seen people gushing about it online, about the Darth Vader Obi Wan duel being better than the original, and blah blah blah. I think these are all terrible takes. We were left with Reva's arc, which makes no fucking sense in context. Leia's arc makes no sense in context. And the first 15 minutes of this episode was a slog. So if you're here, like and subscribe and all that shit, and let's get into it. Alright, so we start off on Tatooine. We're back to that guy who was a dick in the first episode. He was Obi-Wan's boss when he was cutting up the big fish in the desert that didn't rot somehow. And he has a really thick country accent in this little part that he's in. So it seems like they were nice enough to get their disdain in for rural people in this. Reva shows up and tells this merchant guy she wants to see Owen. How did she survive? How did she get a ship? How did she fly here herself? Who knows? Fuck it. She got here just as fast as Vader got to the refugee ship, though, because you'll see as the show goes on that these scenes are supposed to be in parallel, and they couldn't even be bothered to make it make sense. We cut to Vader's ship chasing that refugee ship. They need more time to jump to hyperspace, so Obi-Wan offers to give himself up again to fight Vader. We really jump back and forth a lot here because there's not much happening. So we cut to Owen and Luke in the market, and the guy warns them about Reva coming. So they go back and start to prepare. Owen says that he wants to run because, she's a Sith and they're farmers. And Beru says no. And Owen just says okay because men have no fucking say in a galaxy far, far away. Obi-Wan gives custody of Leia to the con artist man again. Still don't know where this trust came from. Obi-Wan says that they're all the future and he isn't. So fuck his duty to Luke then, I guess. Alright. And the fact that he's in the middle of saving Leia. Whatever. Leia throws a tantrum. Obi-Wan gives her a Tarla's holster that he has somehow after she blew herself up with a fucking grenade. He tries to talk to Qui-Gon again. Nothing happens. Ice Cube's son tells him that he doesn't have to go. And he gets kind of a little bit of a lecture about how he's going to fight Vader for personal reasons and not because he wants to save them. It's like one last jab at Obi-Wan in there. So we cut again. Reva gets to Owen's place around the same time that Vader follows Kenobi, because Kenobi takes a little shuttle to some planet nearby. I guess this chase has been going on for 12 hours because Tatooine was midday when Owen was in the market, and then Reva doesn't show up till night. So, fuck it, I guess, whatever. We find out soon that these events are occurring at the same time. Reva gets to Owens and Vader lands near Kenobi. And I just want to point out that they made Darth Vader retarded here. So you have a Star Destroyer chasing this little refugee ship, which, how nerfed is this Star Destroyer that can't kill a tiny ship? They see Obi-Wan leave for the planet, and the Grand Inquisitor's like, oh, we should go after the rest of the refugees. And Vader's like, no, we're going after Obi-Wan. And then when they get to orbit of this planet, Vader goes by himself anyway. I guess they couldn't be bothered to film a refugee escape scene, with the Grand Inquisitor running the Star Destroyer and Obi-Wan fighting Darth Vader at the same time. I mean, it's not like, on a digital platform you have unlimited time to do the stuff that you need to. Whatever, fuck it. Vader says, "Did you come here to destroy me?" After he fucking flies to him. That makes obviously no fucking sense. Obi-Wan says, "I'll do what I must." But this is probably the only time all season that he actually felt like Obi-Wan. So I guess there's a positive. And this lightsaber duel is okay for about 30 seconds and then just gradually gets worse as it goes on. The choreography is really fucking strange. And it seems like they didn't know what to do. So as it goes on, they just had them do weirder and weirder shit. So Reva breaks into Owen and Beru's house where they've set up, but they haven't really set up anything. They just have 2 hillbilly shotguns. So I'm not sure why they didn't fucking run. Owen attacks Reva with a big stick and actually gets a couple of hits on her. I'm not really sure how that's possible. Reva smacks him around with the Force, and luckily she doesn't kill him because they have plot armor because of episode 4. So eventually Owen gets his ass beat, as does Beru, but not killed, just smacked around a little bit. And Luke runs away into the middle of the desert. And, you know, in this show, a 10-year-old running is like, you're never going to catch them. So that was probably the best plan to begin with. So we go back to the duel with Obi-Wan and Vader. And Obi-Wan's back to full power. Still doesn't make any sense to me. Like 3 episodes ago, Darth Vader smacked him around like a little bitch. 2 episodes ago, he was struggling to move a little piece of plastic with the Force. And also the fact that he's been rotting in the desert for 10 years, while presumably Vader has been getting stronger and stronger for an entire decade. And they were even the last time they fought. So I don't see how it's possible that they could be even now. Or Obi-Wan be stronger, which is what happens in this episode. Obi-Wan should have no chance here, just like he didn't 3 episodes ago or 2 episodes ago. They're fighting, and Vader uses the Force to collapse the ground under Obi-Wan. I'm assuming there's a cave or something there. And then he throws a shitload of boulders on top of him. And before Obi-Wan dies, he thinks about mostly Leia and then like one little flash of Luke. Because Luke's not the priority, even though he fucking should be. And Obi-Wan gets like his anime rage mode power up and blows all the boulders away. So they fight some more. Vader stops his lightsaber with the Force again. And once again, they just really don't seem to understand how devastating what they've done to lightsabers is in the universe. If you can stop a lightsaber with the Force, you could literally just stop the blade and then cut somebody's fucking head off. In every single fight ever. It makes no sense to have this be a move other than the fact that they think it looks cool. And there's some really weird choreography in here too. Like he switches it from one hand to another behind his back. And he does like a lot of rolling and dodging and stuff. And I don't really want to get too much in the continuity of the bigger picture. This is a pretty fucking different fight than they have when, 9 years later. We cut back. Reeve is chasing Luke out into the middle of the desert where there's some cliffs. And then we go back to the Obi-Wan Darth Vader duel. Obi-Wan force pushes Vader like 100 feet and then throws a shitload of boulders at him. And this whole thing is just like absurd. Because he has this like Jesus thing he does where he lifts his arms up in like T poses. And then he's throwing all these boulders at him. And I guess Darth Vader is stronger than fucking boulders. Because he's not blocking them with the Force or his lightsaber or anything. They're just fucking hitting him and then exploding. I don't think the people who made this understand what a fucking rock is. They don't just break apart if you hit a person with them. The person breaks. So this is just retarded. So Obi-Wan fucks up his control panel on his suit, which is the smart thing to do. And then after that, he pretty much just makes him look like a little bitch. And Vader's like, and like, he looks like a total pussy. They've really made Darth Vader retarded and a kind of a bitch in this. He slashes Vader's back, which doesn't cut him in half for some reason. Again, the lightsabers have just been completely fucking nerfed. And Vader's like wheezing and shit. Obi-Wan does this run up and jump off a rock and lunge at him thing. And he hits his head with the lightsaber. And I guess it's cool because he somehow manages to cut his mask off from his mouth all the way to the top of his head, like around to the back of his skull. But he didn't cut an entire chunk out of his fucking face. And then they rip off the Rebel scene here, where he has the one eye exposed. And Obi-Wan just watches him recover instead of beheading him. Obi-Wan calls him Anakin, and Vader says, "Anakin is dead, I am what remains." Obi-Wan apologizes and says he's sorry for everything. Anakin says he isn't Obi-Wan's failure. He didn't kill Anakin, I did. And this is Vader saying that. And then he says that he'll destroy Obi-Wan. And the whole time he's got this mixture of Anakin's voice and Vader's. Which is probably the only thing about this I like, actually. Is that his voice is kind of like Hayden Christensen's voice. Distorted by the mask to be Vader's. Which I thought was a nice little touch. It's a shame it's surrounded by dog shit, though. So Obi-Wan says bye and just leaves. Makes no fucking sense. Vader's like crawling around on his hands and knees. And we end up exactly where we did at episode 3. And after episode 3, you could say that, Obi-Wan thought he was going to die. But you could also make the argument that he was kind of immoral for not fucking putting him down. And he just watched him burn to death instead of ending his misery. This time, I'm not sure what defense there is. Like, the dude's been terrorizing the galaxy for a decade. He killed all the younglings. Like, he's going to try to kill you and all the Jedi that are still alive. How can you not fucking kill him? like from a purely moral perspective. So Reva grabs Luke with the Force, but she can't kill him, and she sees herself, and, shocker. Obi-Wan senses a disturbance in the Force, and he jumps to hyperspeed to Owen's house. And hyperspeed in Star Wars now is just teleportation, I guess. Because he gets to their house at the same time that Reva's carrying Luke's body back from the desert. This is just so fucking corny. She flew to Tatooine with a hole in her chest, attacked Owen, attacked Beru, chased Luke out in the middle of the desert, has the chance to kill him, and then just goes, nah, I'm good. And she's being portrayed as the good guy here for not killing Luke. Lol, what the fuck? Obi-Wan says she honored them and gave them peace. And Reva didn't choose to become Vader. How the fuck can Obi-Wan just let her go? She knows the connection of Vader to Anakin, and to Luke and Leia, and their locations. If they had any fucking balls here, he would have beheaded her to protect Luke and Leia. She leaves her Inquisitor lightsaber so fucking deep. Obi-Wan says they're both free now. How the fuck are they both free? He let Vader live, and he let an Inquisitor go knowing that she knows Luke's location, and that Vader is his dad. And what in the absolute fuck? Vader's back on Mustafar, kind of throwing a tantrum with the Emperor. And there's a weird line here where Vader says Obi-Wan means nothing to him, and he only follows Palpatine. And this is a kind of a bizarre conversation to have after 10 years together, when he's like your apprentice and your right-hand man, and you're still questioning his loyalty after a decade. Leia is back on Alderaan with her famous hairdo and her empty holster. Obi-Wan comes to visit her and gives her droid back. Leia tells him to get some sleep, and they both laugh together. And the acting here is like fucking so half-hearted. So Obi-Wan gives her a bunch of compliments, and she's got to be told how awesome she is over and over, just like her mom and dad. He literally says it could endanger both of them if people know about their connection. Spoiler, it's too fucking late for that. But this show's going to pretend that it's not. I guess the Grand Inquisitor and everybody else is just going to leave Bail Organa alone and leave Leia alone. And Leia calls him Obi-Wan here. So, people were trying to say that she only knew him as Ben to try to defend this continuity. Obi-Wan leaves his cave to go talk to Owen and says that they don't need him looking after Luke. Makes no fucking sense once again. He's just abandoning Luke. Owen asks if he wants to meet Luke, and they slip in the hello there meme. So everybody's fucking jizzing, I'm sure. We see him go toward the area where Luke runs into the Tuskens in A New Hope, and Qui-Gon Jinn shows up as a Force ghost and is like, oh, you took too long? So that's it. I have a lot of shit that I want to bitch about, and I'm probably going to end up making like a separate full season review video just so I can talk in context about all this shit now that we have all the information. But this show was fucking dog shit. The first thing I want to talk about is how stupid this episode is. Like, let's start with the duel of Anakin and Obi-Wan. And I said this like 3 episodes ago, when Obi-Wan looked like a complete bitch, that he would beat Vader in the finale, but it would make no sense. And here we are. Obi-Wan has been rotting for 10 years, and in the span of like 2.5 days, is back at full power, and even more powerful than Vader. They were pretty much even in episode 3, and Obi-Wan has done nothing since. So I guess training and all that shit is just useless. You can just turn the Force on full power or disconnect yourself from it. It's like a fucking faucet. I don't know. I mean, could you imagine if Michael Jordan came out of retirement right now and was suddenly the best player in the NBA? No, because it makes no fucking sense. And that's kind of what's happening here. And I feel like they really missed an opportunity here to have this fight be like an in-between of the episode 3 fight with the crazy choreography and the episode 4 fight where they're both old and a little bit stiffer. And they could do like kind of an in-between and, let Darth Vader show his style. It's a bit more robotic and all that. I mean, it would have been a nice touch, and they just didn't do anything with it. Instead, they just went full fucking anime Force magic mode and had him throwing boulders and collapsing caves, and yeah, I don't fucking know. So lightsabers are pretty much just stun blades now. Obi-Wan hits Vader's back and his head. Neither one of these are killing blows. And how fucking lame is it that he goes there to fight Vader and supposedly finish him off, only to let him go. I mean, it's not even like Vader escaped or he couldn't get to him. Vader's literally crawling around on his hands and knees, and Obi-Wan's just like, okay, I'll see you later then. And I do think at this point you can just say Obi-Wan's morally a piece of shit. Like, you let a mass murderer go not once, but twice. At least at the end of 3, you could have said, okay, well, I thought he was going to die because he was in lava after he killed a shitload of children and betrayed all of you. This one, Vader has been murdering Jedi for 10 years. And all kinds of people. And he just lets them live. And Reva's plot is completely fucking retarded. She was already stabbed by Vader, so she isn't working for him anymore. But then she still wants to go kill Luke? Why? Vader doesn't even know Luke exists. He doesn't have any love for him. So despite this nonsense motivation, she goes and attacks their whole family and Luke only to not kill him. And then this show has the fucking balls to try to portray her as noble for not murdering a child. She didn't prevent a child from being murdered. She just stopped herself from murdering him. Are we just ignoring the dozens of Jedi and children she's killed, seeking revenge? If this show had framed her as the villain, then her arc would make a lot more fucking sense. Again, are we just going to ignore the fact that she was going to torture a 10-year-old 2 episodes ago? That she knew was a princess? That she had kidnapped? She threatened Owen and his entire family just for being in the market? And what purpose does Obi-Wan even serve now? His job was to prepare Luke as a Jedi when he was ready for it, and protect him until then. In this show, he abandons his duty, accidentally gives away his location and relationship to Vader with the help of Bail Organa, and then says, nah, you got it, Owen, you're good. What the fuck is Obi-Wan's role even supposed to be at this point? They made him a bitter old coward, because that's what they're doing to all the original characters. You got deadbeat dad Han, old fucking coward Luke, and now we've got old coward Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan couldn't even do his fucking job, and then had to rely on nonsensical mercy of an Inquisitor. Fuck this show. So that's all I'm going to say about this. I don't want to go too long with this video, but I am going to do a video, I think, where I talk about the entire season as a whole and just which decisions I think they made were bad and where they fucked up, and that video might be like a fucking hour long. I don't know. That's it for this one. I'm going to try to end it here. Thanks. See ya.